Hello, girls. How are you? It's Anita here from Sequins and Sand. If you are joining me live, hello, big welcome to you. If you are joining the recording, it's lovely to have you here whenever you've got 5 minutes of quiet to yourself. Here at Sequins and Sand, we've been helping women for over 12 years now online find swimsuits that fit well, that make them feel fabulous, with our thoughtfully designed swimwear, resort wear, and expert fitting advice. We also do some experiences as well. And with that resort wear and those swimmers, we like to get you beach ready, pool ready, summer holiday ready in a flash. And that's why we sell hats. Now, hats, I've got to admit, hats are a little bit tricky. When you find the one that you love that suits you, hang on to it dearly. I've got to say, I've been researching this ahead of today's live, and I'm a little bit jumbled and confused now myself. But let's muddle on through, and I'll give you the best knowledge that I've got about hats. I'll take you through what hats we've got here at Sequins and Sand. And hats have features, right? Just like swimwear has features. And with the features of the hat, you might think, oh, every hat is created equally. Well, no, it's not, girls. Just like we need to understand the features of our togs to know whether they're going to fit well for us, we need to do the same with our hats. Now, we also need to marry our features with the features of the hat, just like we do with swimwear. So in the case of swimwear, when we look at its features and our own, maybe our features are we are a round shape or an apple shape, where you might have a very wide, fuller tummy, and that's your widest point. You've got great legs, and you've probably got full bust as well. So you're all round here. Now, the kind of features you're going to need a swimsuit that's going to give you the bust support that you need and the tummy support as well. So you'll look for features in the bust, like maybe an underwire, maybe a strong underbust elastic shelf bra with a high back on the swimsuit and fully adjustable straps. That's going to give you the bust support. Then for your tummy, you'll probably look for side panels or ruching to give that length that you need to get around your belly comfortably, but also give you those nice side curves. And then with the paneling, it also helps to keep you in so you feel secure and comfortable. So just like we think about that, normally that's what we talk about here in these lives for swimwear, we're going to do the same today for hats. Now, hats have features. You look at the width of a hat, which is the width of its brim, but you also look at the crown. Now, this hat here is our Adelita hat, and it's quite different to all the other hats that we have in store. This has a fairly flat crown. It doesn't pop up. It's not super round. It goes pretty much straight up and across, and it is a wide brim. Now, wide brim is nothing unusual, but a flat, almost rectangular crown is. Now, what face shape looks good in more of an angular flat crown? Well, you'll find out soon. Ha! Now, the other feature you need to look for, well, no, that's not true. Here is an example of a round crown, right? A fairly high crown. So you look for the shape of the crown and also the height of the crown, I should have said. So let's compare the pair. You can see that this hat here, the Palm Cove, has rounded crown and it is quite high. I'll put them at the same height, and you can see that it's higher in the crown than the Adelita is as well. I'd call the Adelita a mid-height for the for the crown, and both of them are wide brims, but the crowns are very different. So they're going to look very different on. This is another example. This is the Katya. This has been our bestseller. We've stocked this on the website, on our online store, sequinsandsand.com.au, probably since the beginning of time selling hats. So at least 10 years this style's been around. It's a good winner. It's got the round crown like the Palm Cove, And it's high crown as well. Pretty full hat. This is full all the way around. Extra wide brim. So this is a very, this is a rounded shape all round hat. Okay, then we have what we call mid-brim hats. So this is a mid-brim. This is a safari style. We've got two safari style hats. This new Josie and the hazel, which we've had for years, and a natural. I like to stock a lot of naturals because naturals as a color just pretty much goes with everything. So you can see that as a brim, it's a mid brim. If I compare this one to, look at that, the difference in those two hats. This one here, the Katya, is a very wide hat, and this one here is a mid brim. So you can see that the width of the brim is quite different. Now on the website, when we talk about the hats, we will do our best always to measure the width of the brim so that you know whether it's a short brim, a mid brim, or a wide brim. Now we don't sell short brims. We used to, they're called fedoras. But now we sell a mid brim, which is the safari hat, and then the wide brim. So two brim widths here at Sequins and Sand. But this crown is different again, right? So in the safari hat, which is a style, like a one piece is a style of swimsuit, a safari hat is a style of hat. It's a real thing, girls, look it up. The safari hat has got a fairly high crown, but it's angled. It's got an angle to the crown, and this is called a pinched crown. I learned that today for the very first time. There you go, honest and real. I always called it angular, but it's pinched, and so it dips in the middle and it points at the front. So that creates an angle quite different to a round shape. Do you see that? And for years I couldn't work out which one looked better on me, whether I was round. I always went for a pinched hat, and now I know why. There is a difference in the crown, quite significant difference. So that's the hazel. And then the same hat is in black in the Josie. So they're the safari hats. Now, this is a personal favorite. This is a cowboy style hat. It's got the, you can muck around with this. You can make it floppy. I love this hat because you can change the shape of it so easily. And with that versatility, you can use it. You can move the brim around to suit your face shape and your style. But I love this. This hat has got a pinched angular top. Yes, it is quite high, and it's not quite a wide brim. It's a little bit wider than the safaris, but not as wide as the other one, but it's almost there. And what you can do is you can make this even more angled and bring it in at the sides if you like. So this is the Greta cowboy hat. Now, straight away when you do that and you bring it in at the sides, you're creating a sharper angle straight away. You leave it out and it softens it. And we'll talk about which face shapes like that softness. So that is the Greta cowboy hat, and that's a different hat shape again. Then we have a couple of others in our stash that are reversible hats. Now, these are a soft hat, but with a wide brim. And they're a bit of a combo. They're a bit harder, I guess, to categorize because of the softness in the crown, but there is stiffness in the brim. So I'm not exactly sure how to categorize them. This one is a bit softer than this one here. This is the Hayman. This one is the swimmable hat, and they're reversible, right? One's got navy and blues. The other one is black, black and white. So I'm not sure about these, but they do offer some sort of softness. So I've left them in the mix for now. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to block this person. Thank you, dear Abdullah. Sorry, mate, not interested. I just want to get on with my work, do my job. So now we are going to, I'm going to share the screen, and I'm going to share with you a fantastic website that has got all the face shapes listed on it. Now, this is the Kendra Powell's site. Now, she is a makeup artist. Now, why can't I click on that? There we go. I just need to hit in there. Okay. So I'm hoping you can still see that, girls, when I scroll. Yeah, you can. That's all good. So I found this website really, really helpful. So I will put the link to this in the discussion feed. But it's Kendra Powell, and she's makeup and hair. But she goes into a lot more depth, which can be a bit confusing. But what I like is that she breaks these down into a really simple way to understand it. And I'm going to try and keep it really simple and high level for you today. Most sites go round, heart, oval, and they list, the 8 to 11 different kinds of face shapes. Well, find that rather confusing. But what Kendra does, which I think is really, really clever, is she said, let's just break it down into 3 basic things. When we talk about face shapes, now she comes up with 11, but what we basically do at the beginning is we look at the length, top to bottom of your face, and then we look at the width. Are you wide or you narrow? And then we look at the angularity and the features. So is your chin pointed or is it rounded? Is your jawline square and angular, or is that soft and rounded or not really that noticeable? So there's 3 factors. There's length, there's width, and then there's those features. Features like your hairline as well, how high up your hairline goes. And I guess how you wear your hair is going to influence that too. But it's definitely jawline and chin. And then when you look at your length, do you notice that the top half of your face is your longest bit, or is it the bottom half? Or are you long all over? And if you're long all over, are you round, like oval long with softness in your shape? Or are you more angular with your length? Then if we look at width, there are face shapes like a round face shape. There is a heart shape. There are triangle shapes, and there are inverted triangles, just like there are with bodies. But basically with a wide face shape, you look at, well, am I wide across my forehead or am I wide down here? So if I'm wide across my forehead, I'm usually going to have maybe a pointier, narrower, smaller chin, and that's a heart shape, right? If you're round all over, you've got that softness and that fullness and that roundness all the way around them. Yes, you're a round shape. Then with the width, we move away from the softer, rounder form, and we go into something that is a little bit more square. So we go from round to square. So as you go into square shapes, yes, you could be square, means the forehead, cheekbones, and jawline is roughly the same width. And then you may have a pointy chin or not as defined, or, the chin doesn't seem to matter so much. It's really the width here all the way through. Or like I described earlier, if you're a heart shape, for example, your width might be on the top, but you've got a pointier chin at the bottom. So all your width is up here. Then there's another face shape where the width is down here and it's narrower up the top, more like a pear shape we have with our bodies. So they're the differences with width and length. Then you've got what I call the in-betweenies. So there's the diamond shape where the fullness or the angularity and the width is a nice high cheekbones is really defined there. And then more of a chiseled jaw down this way, but it's very much the width is here around the cheeks, and that comes in at the top and in at the bottom. Then you've also got the oval shape where it's oval and rectangle are kind of the mid. You've got round and square at one end, one side where they're really wide. And then you've got the really narrow and longer at the other extreme, which is, say, the oblong or long face shape, and even the rectangles come into that. But then somewhere in the middle, you've got ovals, rectangles, and I would put diamonds in there for simplicity. So the most versatile face shapes, I guess, are going to be those that are in the middle. Because when you're in the middle with an oval face shape or a rectangle or a diamond, then you don't need to focus so much on, is this a wide brim or a narrow brim or a high crown or a round crown, because there is more flexibility in what you can get away with. But if you lie on the fringes, then I think that's where you need to be a little bit more conscious, only if you want to. But if you're trying to figure out, why can't I wear a hat, or why can't I find a hat to suit my face shape, then that could be very well why. Now, let's go through some of those basic ones. Are you with me? Let me know. Okay, so we are going to go into, well, that's her scale, which I find really interesting. Let me find the spot. Okay, here we go with the round shape. So we're going from the left side of the scale where we've got that fullness, but we've got fullness in the round shape. And it's really obvious, but there's our beautiful Isla Fisher. So she's an example of someone having a round face shape. Now, with a round shape, what you want to do is really not go round with your hats as well. You want to go something that's a little bit more angular, and perhaps not so wide, because you've already got the width. So like we do with clothing and swimwear, taking into consideration our body shape, we want to balance things out. We don't want to overemphasize. So you might find that if you have that rounder face shape, that a rounder hat is going to accentuate that even more, and a wide brim hat is going to accentuate it even more. So the safari hat or a fedora with a narrower width in the brim, but also the angularity in the crown, is what will work for you. So here are our two safari hats, the Josie and the Hazel, right? So that is the kind of hat that would work for a rounder face shape. Now, the oval is the in-betweenies. I'm going to, the oval is very versatile with what it can wear. And there's a lovely Charlize Theron as an example. So we can see here that with an oval face, the forehead is still quite pronounced, and there is width there in the face as well, but it is a little bit longer. It is longer than the overall round face shape. So this is where the oval is the in-betweeny, right? Quite versatile. So an oval face shape can do a mid to wide brim, and with a mid to wide brim, and possibly with some roundness, not overly round, but a little bit of angularity is better. So for an oval face shape, which is what I think I'm heading towards, is the cowboy hat. And again, it's got that little bit of angularity. It's got that little bit of softness, but it's not overly round, right? So again, with an oval, I would limit the roundness of a hat and go for something that's got a bit more angularity about it. So when we look at the middies, now we're going to the other side, the extreme. So here's a beautiful Liv Tyler, classic, really long face shape, right? But she's a long oval. You see the roundness in, the roundness of her features, but a very long face shape. So when you've got that long face shape, you don't want to add length to your overall appearance by wearing a high brim hat, right? So the depth, not a high brim, high crown. The depth of the crown matters here. So really long face, whether it's a long oval like Liv or a long angular like Sarah Jessica Parker, and we'll get to her in a minute. The longer the face, you want the shorter the crown is the golden rule. So something like the Adelita would be great, where it's got a shorter crown and not so, this one's a bit wide, but the shortness of that crown is ideal. Now, this is not so round. Even though it's got, it's not circular because it's a hat, it's very squared off, right? So, and not so high. This would be a perfect hat for Liv Tyler, this shape here. Okay. This is the square face shape. So we're going back to similarly to the round shape where the fullness is in the width, but with this face shape, you're starting to get a little bit more angularity. So look at that there, really, really angular. This is, with this face shape, then I would tend to go a little bit rounder to offset the squareness. So, but probably not a wide brim, very much a narrower brim hat on this face shape. Then with the rectangles, you can see they're related to the squares, but you've got the length kicking in, right? So wide, the width from the forehead down through the cheekbones to the jawline is roughly the same width. And then just with the chin could be rounded or chiseled. So Angelina Jolie, classic, right? So with that face shape, again, because it's starting to get some length, you would go shorter in the crown and probably start to go wider, a little bit wider in the brim because the length offsets the width in comparison to the square face shape. And then we go into, probably one of the most versatile face shapes, which is the diamond. So with, and there's Kendra there, with the diamond, you can see that the highlight is really the cheekbones. That's the highlight there. So we've got evenness top and bottom with sort of a mid-length, average length, but you've got the evenness top and bottom with forehead and chin. So a really versatile shape. You could do safari, very much so. And also you could start to go into, well, even the cowboy hat would be fine, and you'd probably soften it out a little bit to reduce the angularity, just bring out the brim in that one. Because if you wear it in tight like that, you're going to accentuate the narrowness even more. So a little bit of width would be better. And possibly even go into these hats here. That's my dog, I'm sorry. It's just, I'm not feeling the vibe now with him barking away. But there's the width in these hats here with a little bit of softness in the top. That's a face shape that could probably get away with that because of the versatility of the shape, having the width here, but narrow top and bottom to balance it out. Now, the heart is similar to, in my mind, it's kind of like the round, but there's a little bit more, obviously more angularity happening down. And the classic person for here, though she's not listed, is Reese Witherspoon. She's classic heart shape, face shape. And with that, you want to create, you don't want so much width here, and that's where most hats sit. So again, with a wider forehead shape and narrower down at the chin, you don't want to increase the width of the brim out this way. You would want to keep that width in a little bit more. So again, the mid-brim hat is a better option, and something that this one's got a bit of angularity and softness to it. So I still think the safari would be a great option for the heart-shaped face shape as well. Yeah. So that's the main thing, inverted triangle. Yeah, we get into a lot more, but really the golden rules here with your, the golden rules with your hat choice is really all about balance. So if you have, like I've got my width is here at the top and I come down narrower. I think I'm not a diamond shape. I'm wider here. I could, but I'm not a heart shape. But I think I'm into that kind of oval or oval space where I've got the width here and continuing down towards, but a very square jawline. So might even be more towards a rectangle because I'm fairly even all the way through, but with a chin. So I'd say I'm the rectangle face shape. Now, balance is what you want to aim for, girls. If you're wider here, that's where your hat's going to sit. Then if you've got a wide face shape there, whether it's wide round or wide angular, you don't want to add to the width. If you have an angular, like a square shape, then soften it with something that's rounder. If you have the rounder shape, you need to not wear the round. You need to offset with that with some angle or a pinched crown. So the wider you are up the top, you need to keep the brim narrower. If you're longer, like a long face shape, a long oblong, a long angled shape like Sarah Jessica Parker, you don't want to go high in the crown either. So you don't want to create extra length with a higher crown. Keep the crown lower and go wide, right? Because proportionally you're this way. So when you wear a hat, go this way. So if proportionally you're already wide, you need to bring it in with your hat and create a little bit of length. If you're long, you want to go wide with your hat. You don't want to go long with your hat. So I think that is the two golden rules if we boil it all down. If you look at the crown height and the crown angularity, is it a round crown or is it an angled crown? This being the round crown, this being an angled crown with pinched. Is it a high crown or is it a lower crown? Is it a wide brim or a narrower brim? If you're wide and short, go tall with your crown and narrower with the brim. If you're longer in the face, go shorter with the crown and wider with the brim. We're just going to go width and length. That's all we're going to bother about because it's too complicated any other way. So let me show you where to find the hats on the website. And I'm going to summarize all of this. Don't worry. I'll work on an article and I'll put the link in there too for those who are watching the recording. But let me just find for you where you will find them on the Sequins and Sand website. Okay, I need to remove that one and I need to share. We can't share two at a time, I've discovered. So here's where you'll find the hats on the Sequins and Sand website. Let me just make sure we've got the right view. Okay, so you go into accessories and then you go into sun hats. And there they all are. So on the top, we've got the visors. They roll down to nothing, but that's what they look like when they're out. Now, I haven't talked visors today deliberately because they don't have the crown, right? So, I mean, to me, they kind of fall outside the square in terms of what we're talking about today. So I didn't go in there. But here you will see the Palm Cove, which is very much a round, wide brim hat. The Greta, which has got the angularity, but these sides roll down so that you can change the shape of that a little bit, but the crown is angular. Then we've got the Hayman that with the soft crown, but very much a fixed brim, but that's something in between. This is the one I wanted to show you. This is Katya. This is the other round, high crown. So a wider width would look greater on a narrower face shape. Then we've got the mid brims, the safaris, the hazel, and the Josie. Reasonably high in the crown, but that mid brim. So ideally, this girl here has got a very long face. Ideally, she'd be better in something that is wider, yeah, knowing what we know now, and something not as long or not as tall in the crown. But you know what? If you love it and it does a job, buy it. I'm not saying don't do that, but these are just from a theory point of view, and we're talking balance and shape. This is something to aim for. Then there's the Adelita. She's our different one. She's the one that's got that. She's not rounded, very much flattened at the top, but is a wide brim. So that's where you'll find all the hats in the accessories sun hat section of our online store. I hope that you found that of help today, girls, when you're watching, where to figure out what face shape you've got and what hat is best for your face shape. We are going to go live again next Wednesday and Friday again, talking more about swimwear and also mental health as well is also a key focus for us as well, because we want you to feel more confident in your cozies, and the mental game has a big influence on that. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you've got any questions, put them in the discussion area and I will do my best to answer them for you. You know where to shop for the hats now. And if you get it wrong, right, we're happy to do free returns. That's what we do. When you shop with us, we pay for the post back to us. If you find that you've made a mistake with the hat and you send it back, you can get a refund as long as the hat's in good condition. So you've got to pack it well. Hats are a little bit trickier like that. But if you decide it's not for you and you want to send it back, that's okay. We do free returns where the postage is free. So that's something to consider, just to take the pain away when you're wanting to find that right hat to suit your face shape. Thanks so much, ladies. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you in your inbox on Sunday with more about the hats, and then on next week, live Wednesday and Friday, and then on Thursday in our private Facebook group, Women 40 Plus, Self-Love, Body Love, Summer Confidence, where we talk about all those other subjects that, aside from products, we don't go so much into hats and togs and clothes. We talk about the stuff that really matters as women in midlife. Things like our body confidence, our self-worth. We just did meditation in there, just to help us be the best version of ourselves we can be now that we are in the back end of this beautiful life. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you in Sequins and Sandland, either in your inbox, on our social pages, and in our private group. Thanks very much. Bye.